This year is way above average, so we are all just like celebrating, all of us who watch this. And what we've seen so we've been in this 23-year-long drought. What we have seen is that even when we have above average snowpack, we're not getting as much inflow into the reservoirs, and we think that maybe we're looking at soil, we think it's aridification is what they're calling it, that the soils are drier, so they're soaking up more of it, and the temperatures are higher, so it's melting earlier, it's evaporating, we're losing more to evaporation and evapotranspiration from the plants. So even when we're seeing above average snowpack, we're not seeing above average inflows. However, this year I think is unique because the snowpack is so far above average. I think we are going to get really good inflows, and so we're all hopeful. We're watching it, as the snow starts to melt to follow that. But I think we are going to get kind of. It's not going to solve our problem because the problem really comes from both being in this long-term 23-year drought and over-allocation of the river system. So even without the drought, we would be facing this challenge because it's over-allocated. So we have to kind of get things in order. Even this will just give us a little breathing room, maybe an extra year to do it. And that's sort of a good segue to your question, which is about the negotiations. And just a couple days ago, we got big news. The draft supplemental environmental impact statement came out from the federal government, and they proposed, we kind of knew it was coming and had an idea of what the alternatives were going to be. But it proposed three alternatives. One is do nothing. One is divide up if we need to cut back, as I said, we're over allocated. If we need to cut back, do we do that based on priority or do we do that equitably? So alternative 2 is based on priority, and as our questioner mentioned, California has senior water rights under a priority system, and Arizona has junior, Central Arizona Project in particular has junior water rights. So in a priority system, we don't do as well. We're going to get a lot more of our supply cut than California will. If we do alternative 3, which is to divide it up based on a percentage, based on what the different allocations are, then Arizona does much better. And the 6 states, not California, so I said there were 7, 6 of the states basically proposed to the federal government that we should divide the cuts equitably. And that was based on this idea that we lose a lot of water to evaporation and seepage, of evaporation from those big reservoirs, and that should be shared equitably between the states. And so 6 states agree on that. California doesn't agree with that because they have senior rights, and they think that's what the law says, is that the senior rights have to be fulfilled first. So those are kind of the 3 different scenarios, and what the federal government has said, it was the Assistant Secretary of the Interior, Boudreaux, is that, so they issued this draft SEIS. They are encouraging the states to come up with our own agreement. We're working really hard. I'm optimistic and hopeful that we will be able to reach an agreement. And they're saying if we don't, then they will issue a final SEIS sometime in the summer, and that will tell us, what alternative they want to pursue. And then in mid-August, which is when they always tell us what tier we're in at Lake Mead, they will decide which alternative they're going to implement. So